Welcome to the Black Sparrow Media Internet Broadcast Network.
You are listening to Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a podcast about Linux, open source, and amateur radio for everyone. Now here are your hosts, Russ, K5TUX, Cheryl, W5MOO, and Bill, NE4RD.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 526 of the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. This is Linux in the Ham Shack and it's our short topics episode, so welcome in. We're glad you're here with us. And we're just going to go without preamble and dive right on into topics. We do have a little bit of a surprise for segment number 4. We call it segment number 4 because we rarely have a segment number 1. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Russ, K5TUX, and of course, Cheryl, W5MOO, made it for one whole episode before she had other stuff to do again tonight. So anyway, I'm Russ, and also...
And I'm Bill, NE4RD. Good evening.
All right, so we'll get to our short topics. Cheryl will definitely be with us for 527 because that's going to be our year-end wrap-up / hedonism fest. We're gonna go out with a bang. With a year ender, I guess we call them. I don't know that we always end on a year ender, do we? I think maybe we do.
yeah, we always do that.
Yeah,
at least for the past couple of years we have.
Yeah, for the past few years since we've been doing weekenders. So anyway, yeah, that will be our last episode until early in January. So we are inviting folks to come and join us, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But let's go ahead and jump into our amateur radio topics, and we'll let Bill hit the first one.
Sure, and this one is a reminder of what we talked about not too long ago. The FCC symbol rate limitations expire on January 8th, 2024. The FCC rule changes regarding symbol rate limitations is being removed from the HF bands will go into effect on January 8th, 2024. In November, the FCC put forth a report and order removing the symbol rate limit and its place implement a 2.8 kilohertz bandwidth limitation. And of course, we talked about this in detail in a previous podcast. Those rules were adopted, in the final report and order published today on December 7th, so a few days ago from the podcast recording. The rules outlined in the report and order go into effect on the 8th of January for the 1,000th time. So, and of course, I picked this up from Ham Weekly. And in the show notes, you'll find the link to the Federal Register publication of that report and order, which is what is needed to make any FCC rule go into effect. So as soon as that occurs, we'll probably start seeing some changes in our digital landscape, which is probably very exciting to see because we'll see a lot of innovation and whatnot over the next in the next year. So it'll be great.
All right, very good, and maybe that will change WSJTX. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Of course, we don't want that to be 2.8 wide. That'd be disastrous.
Well, no, but a little wider would be nice.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen the band there. I mean, that channel is smushed with contacts.
Well, that's true, but we could always add a second calling frequency, one for the overflow.
Yeah, then with that multi-hop or something like that, whatever, spread spectrum.
Oh, now you're just smoking crack. All right, moving on, we have new amateur extra class question pool released effective July 1st, 2024. So will be released, not has been released.
Well, the pool has been released now, but it's effective. Right. Yeah, we'll be starting seeing it in tests.
Yeah, so if you're going to study after July 1st or take your test after July 1st, you can study the new pool already. The National Conference of Volunteer Examiner Coordinators, the NUCVEC Question Pool Committee, KPUC, has released the 2024 to 2028 Extra Class FCC Element 4 Question Pool and syllabus to the public. The new Extra Class Question Pool is effective from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2028. The pool is available as a Microsoft Word document and as a PDF. The 10 graphics required for the new extra class question pool are available within the documents or separately in PDF and JPEG file formats. So there you go for all you folks who are thinking about getting your amateur extra, which we definitely highly recommend if you're already a general or even if you're not. Because then you can get the cool call signs. You might have to wait like 3 years or something, but you can still get it. There's that one site that sort of gives you the in on what's available. I can't remember what it is, but it's like
AQ something
or something.
AQ4 or something. AE4Q. I don't know. What is it?
87Q, 87DQ.
Let's see. Vanity call signs. We should get that right because we're probably screwed. AE7Q.
AE7Q. Yeah, that's it. So you can check that if you're looking for a 1x2 or a 2x1 or some sort of specialty hard to get call sign. They keep information in there like when there's a S key, when stuff's going to expire, things like that. So if you're looking for a special call, AE7Q, just Google it. There you go. Steve says, should I be hearing things? Yeah, I hope you should be hearing things.
Yeah. We're all hearing each other, so it's definitely working.
All right. So anyway, link to the question pool and the story are in the show notes. So go ahead and check those out. And now we're going to move swiftly and slyly from amateur radio topics into open source, and we'll let Bill hit the first one of these as well.
Sure, yeah. This is ffmpeg 6.1 drops a heavy side dose of codec magic. It's a pretty heavy. New versions of this amazing versatile tool, used in most streaming video services and devices, don't come along very often. Although ffmpeg has been around since 2000, it only reached version 6 in February. Despite its modest 0.1 version number bump and remarkably terse release notes, this is a major release. The announcement has rather more information, as does the changelog. The release's codename is a tribute to the great 19th century mathematician Oliver Heaviside, the inventor of the coaxial cable, along with several other radical mathematical methods, which, for instance, enable the performance of telegraph cables to be mathematically modeled for the first time. The other thing named after him is also the Heaviside layer, the part of the ionosphere that the long-distance radio signals reflect off of to travel around the world, and not, in fact, where cats go to heaven. That's funny. This version includes support for the multi-threaded hardware accelerated video decoding of H.264, HEVC, and AV1 video using the cross-platform of Vulkan API, which I totally blew on and being able to define the other night. The next-gen replacement for OpenGL, which was added to the codebase in May. And the story came from the Register, and I also linked the release notes in the show notes.
All right, sweet. We go back up. I somehow scrolled down away from the next story. Cool. I always like that the term Heaviside. It's a cool term.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. A little bit of an education.
Edumacation. We try and do that on the show every once in a while. It's scary sometimes. But so moving on from the Heaviside dose of codec magic, we'll talk a little bit about open source forkers. Don't say that the wrong way.
Fork this. Fork you.
Forkers in OpenBao in the oven. The rebellion against HashiCorp for adopting its Terraform software expanded this week with word that the Linux Foundation aims to help hatch an open source alternative to Vault, the company's secrets management project. At the Open Source Summit in Tokyo, Japan this week, Sebastian Stadil, co-founder and CEO of DevOps automation BizScaler, and one of the organizations of OpenTofu, a fork of Terraform, revealed details about the project dubbed OpenBao. OpenBao is a fork of Vault, which helps developers manage secrets like password, tokens, certificates, API keys, and the like. Vault, like HashiCorp's Boundary, Consul, Nomad, Packer, Terraform, Vagrant, and Waypoint, has been under the business source license, which disallows other cloud companies from offering the software as a competitive product. And so rivals have forking the Vault code under an OSI-compliant license, Mozilla PLv2, to ensure continued access to the technology. Cool. Damn forkers. Oh, well, actually, in this case, we're all for forking.
Yes. Yeah. So like it's, I almost had a story about the Terraform to to Open Tofu in one of the previous Short Topics shows just because it was sort of relevant, but I don't know how much you actually mess around with Terraform, and I'm just barely dabbling in it now because I don't do where we use it at work is basically in Azure. So we use Terraform to basically build out all of the DevOps inside that platform. But apparently there's some stinky going on with HashiCorp for adopting a BSL license, much like a lot of other open source companies have done in the past to sort of protect their product from being used everywhere and not really get any value or benefit from supporting that kind of platform. And we know how this normally goes. It normally goes into a fork like this, and then you end up with a third-party product, another third-party product that remains in the standard open source license that you can use. So it's no surprise. I would assume that if there's anything else out there, it's going to be continued to be forked from prior to the BSL license being applied to the product, and then patched and maintained from that point forward. So I'm not sure how effective this is for HashiCorp, but I understand the reason why they have to do stuff like this, just because they have to monetize something that they really probably didn't have a monetization strategy for in the first place, and now this is their only solution to that. So can't really blame them for it.
Yeah, sure enough. I have not used Terraform or its ilk, but definitely looks like something I could look into from a business perspective and see where this project and OpenBao are going. So looks cool. And that, by the way, came from the Register over in the UC. So
yeah, sorry about 2 stories from the Register. It just happened to be. I think I found them both from a Slashdot link, but then I just read the original article just because you get more context.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the UK Register has been a good source of information lately. They do talk about open source and topics of the like quite a bit. So, nice to have the resource. All right. Well, that brings us down to the end of our open source topics for tonight. And for our Linux in the Ham Shack segment, we got kind of a special thing tonight. Instead of doing some news topics or anything like that, we're going to bring on someone we've had on the show before, Tag N0TTL, the lead developer, I guess. Maybe you'll fill us in on how that's going. I know you've got a team now working on GridTracker, but we haven't talked to you guys in almost 3 years, I think, something along those lines. And I'm seeing a lot of development come out of the GridTracker group, because I think there's been like 3 or 4 updates in the last few weeks. So we wanted to find out what is new in GridTracker. So we're going to bring you on to give us a brain dump on GridTracker and what's new.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. This is Tag N0TTL. We have a recent update where we changed the call roster a little bit. So previously, when you open up the call roster, you had all these controls in the wanted and the exceptions area that had text boxes for like ignoring call signs, or you wanted to be a part of CQ roundup, or you wanted to ignore CQFD, CQ field day. And so they were unnecessary because we had an ignore system built in, and the text, anytime you open one, your window would just get distorted. The layout was horrible, so there wasn't a consistent interface. So I've moved all of those out into a settings area for all the ones that could adjust the size of the call roster. So it makes more consistent, ease of use on the eyes. You always know where a button is. It's not going to move anymore on you. We've done a lot of UI improvements to the call roster to kind of like, because you spend so much time staring at it, reducing color eye strain, reducing the busyness because there's so much to display. So that was one of our main focuses for the latest release. A previous release, WA4YA Christian, he brought us notifications, push notifications from the call roster, as well as our online message service, off-air message service called OHMS. You can now push your wanted, let's say you're in the middle, you want to go to bed, but you don't want to miss that DXCC at 3 a.m. You can now push a text message to your phone for free. And you can also sign up for more text messages per month. But at a minimum, you can get like 100, I think, text messages sent for free. And that's directly from within GridTracker right to your phone. That's one of the new features. Let's see what else. We've got a lot of, we recently added French translations, Italian, and I'm missing one. Spanish translations of the app. So we already have Chinese traditional, Chinese simplified, and German. So now this adds to that. So we're native in more languages now. So let's see what else. There's just a lot of bug fixes. We had a long-standing issue where confirmed grids, confirmed QSOs, your QSLs, the grids, the states, and the counties were being counted incorrectly. So if you were hunting your WAS for Logbook of the World versus your US 40 from QRZ, you would have different values for those, and they would be counted. So you may get credit. We would give you credit for Montana when you actually worked North Dakota or got confirmed in North Dakota, because the grid, the shares between the two. And QRZ may say, yeah, you worked them in Montana, versus Logbook of the World said, no, you worked them in North Dakota. So we were not resolving those conflicts correctly. And so that was a major change in this latest release. So that's pretty much it. We have a roadmap for some new things that are coming. If you want to talk about those, or if you have any questions, I can answer those.
Well, I do want to talk about what you've got coming up for the future. And I know we kind of launched right into this, but we have talked about this on the show. But for anyone who's not familiar, GridTracker is an application. It's written in Java, yes. JavaScript, yes. Excuse me. That can run cross-platform, of course, because JavaScript is cross-platform. And it basically, at its core, it keeps track of your worked grids. But, of course, it's a very robust piece of software. We've done in-depth episodes on it before, so you can go back and listen to those and hear about all of the cool features it has. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about what you guys have lined up for the near future of GridTracker as well.
So we support audio alerts. You can get notified either visually or via text-to-speech, or you can pick a media file. Those are trash. They haven't been updated in nearly 4 years, because once I created the call roster, we did have a need. I didn't have a need for any kind of alerts because I had the call roster doing the work for me. But a lot of people still use it. And the problem that we have today is that what you're alerting on may not be what you're looking for in the call roster. And so there's this huge disconnect, and we're getting support emails all the time saying, I'm getting an alert. It's saying new DXDC over the speakers, but I look at the call roster and there's nothing. And we have to explain over and over and over again that they're not connected. They have separate settings. So what we're doing is basically just taking the audio alert system apart and connecting it to the call roster, so that what you're seeing in the call roster is reflected in the audio alerts you hear, or any changes in the audio alerts you hear will be reflected in the roster. That's the major component that's coming. Obviously, bug fixes and things. We're tossing around the idea for a subscription service for extra data, providing real-time MUF visual layer, so at any given time, based on GridTracker usage through our OHMs network, we know the high, the maximum usable frequency for a particular area. And so we think we can turn that into a live feed that we can provide to GridTracker users. But it comes at a cost. It's kind of expensive. So we were thinking about having a subscription service. But again, that's just some things we're thinking about. But majorly, it's just the audio alerts is what we're looking to overhaul next. And I think we're kind of getting to the point where we're running out of ideas. We weren't in the past. Now we're kind of coming up to this is a pretty robust system, fairly bug-free, doing what everybody wants. So unless somebody comes at us and says, hey, it'd be great if you added this logger or this, there's been a request for FL Digi support. I'm not sure how we could support that, but that's where we're at now. We've kind of grown up a little bit, and we've polished a lot of edges.
All right. I know we talked just recently about the Maidenhead 6 squares and stuff, and getting that information out of WSJTX. Do you know if there's any movement on that front?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't even checked, but it seems like it would be great if they did support, the 6-wide, be more accurate locations. But, I don't know. It's definitely something that we would all benefit from. If we're not limited in baud rate, the messages that we can send can be much larger and to get in the same time frame. I think will benefit a lot.
Yeah, I think it would too. And just having a wider data field would be nice anyway. I mean, I guess we don't want to turn WSJTX into like JT65 or or any of the other chat modes, because obviously it's just for doing contacts and stuff like that, kind of like a little overblown whisper sort of thing.
Right.
But
right.
A few extra characters could go a long way, I think, to enhancing the experience.
Could not hurt, that's for sure.
I'm not sure how big an overhaul that is for the WSJTX team. I'm sure it's been mentioned, and maybe that will come along down the pike, and I'm sure you guys will adjust if it ever happens. So,
and one thing that would help with is compound call signs. We won't have to learn over multiple decodes what a longer call sign is. It will just be inherent in the message, right? It seems like one of the drawbacks is compound call signs, where you have to wait for 7, 12, 13 decodes before you fully get what that call sign is, what their call is. So,
are there? This just occurred to me, and I have no idea the answer, and I don't know if you do either. But when it comes to the United States, when you're tracking and looking in the call roster, you of course give a state designation where where the grid lies. Do states or county borders or all of those things exist in international entities? And if so, have you thought about adding them?
Well, yeah, the administrative zones we have, internally, we know the grids for, every grid, for Australia, Mexico, Canada, Germany, France, and I believe the UK. We also know from our log files the administrative zone that is provided in confirmations. So we know the Japanese zones, Australian. I don't know what they're called, if they're called states, but we have that information. The only thing we're missing today is the shapes to represent them on the map, and the other is the actual call sign databases for those countries. If we had an Australian call sign database, we could provide worked all Australian states as an award or a layer. Do the same for Canada if we had the data. And that's the problem. It's getting a hold of the call sign databases for these countries.
Do you assume that there are databases for these countries and they're just unpublished or inaccessible?
They may not, due to privacy laws for various countries, they might not even make them available. Where we seem to be the oddball in that, our home addresses are associated with our call sign and our full names, where other countries, that's a big no-no, so.
Yeah, fair enough. That's all I had, and I think that's a great update. I mean, I use the thing all the time, so I see all the stuff as it comes through, and I read through the change logs and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to kind of tinkering with the call roster, the new updates for that. So, Bill, do you have? I know you're. You can talk about your experience with GridTracker because you've had all of 20 minutes now with it.
Well, I have used it in the past, but yeah, I primarily just use it for like the visual aspect of the contact itself. But just installing it here a few minutes ago, as we were talking, the install is literally painless, and changing my JTDX setup to be multicast instantly appeared over in GridTracker, so it's quite quick in seeing the change of the software that you're using for doing your FT modes and JT modes and stuff like that. And I just loaded my logbook in there just so it has a quick snapshot of everything I've worked, and it loaded 10,000 contacts pretty quickly. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty quick to get running, and it's very painless to get set up.
One thing I wanted to mention quickly is that we've got Flatpak support coming for Linux installs. So
that's okay. We don't care about any of that.
No, okay.
Russ hates us.
No, that will be.
Come on, it's already running on Node. What else do you want?
Well, for those people who are using immutable desktops, and want to use it, sure, Flatpak support would be great, but haven't bought into that paradigm yet. So
fair enough.
But no, it does open it up to a whole scale of people that want their systems to be somewhat maintainable in the aspect that they don't really want to maintain the operating system and want to run their PC much like a cell phone. I think that's a great move and a great direction to go to support a whole number of users that are in that landscape of immutable based systems.
All right. Well, I think we hit the high points, and I think we came in right about at our target time on this one. So do you have anything else you want to tell us, like where people can find GridTracker and all that good stuff, and where they can contact you if they have questions or anything like that?
Sure. I just want to quickly mention Matthew in our Zero Q is the person responsible for maintaining our web servers, and that is GridTracker.org. He's also responsible for all of for most of our Linux work, and including Christian WA4YA. And yeah, I wanted to give them props for all the help that they've been doing lately, as well as Randy KA0AZS. And I'm sure I don't have my Discord in front of me, otherwise I'd be throwing out names. But there's a lot of people at GridTracker that are making this possible. The fact that we're robust and all and polished is because of them. So, and the last thing I want to mention, GridTracker did win the 2023 amateur open source amateur radio software award. So we're very, very proud of that.
Well, fantastic. It's an excellent piece of software. I believe, as I said a few weeks ago, it is the bee's knees in the space that it occupies. And I love it. Yeah, Bill hasn't drunk the Kool-Aid yet, but we're trying to get everybody on board. So, all right. Well, I appreciate your time, Tag. Thanks for coming on, giving us the update, and look forward to using it and seeing what comes in the future. And hopefully a few more people will be drawn to the project, and you'll have more people to bug you in email.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Take care. Have a good night. 7-3.
73.
So moving on from that little discussion of GridTracker, we're going to jump into announcements and feedback. And I guess I'll hit the first one here. Episode number 527. Is that right?
I think so.
Yes, 527. Boy, it's amazing how you lose track of things. 527, i.e. the next episode, will be our year-ender, a year-end roundtable. And we encourage everybody who has a microphone and the ability and the desire to jump onto the Discord and participate in our year-end episode. It's always a lot of fun. And because it's a year-ender, we'll talk about, the year in review. We'll talk about 2024 and what's on tap. And, of course, we'll do the hedonism thing because, we like to wrap it all into one. So if you want to participate, we'd love to have you. And otherwise, just join us for the last episode of the year, because we won't be having another one until I think it's like the 9th of January. So
yeah, that sounds right.
So I have almost a month off. We can all enjoy the holidays and the new year, and then we'll get right back into it. So hope to see you next week. And we do have one more bit of feedback, and we'll let Bill read it.
Sure. Yeah, this was a Mastodon message from K6GTE, and he said, "Hi, noticed the Mastodon badge is missing from your site, or on your site is missing. And I noticed, because I checked the site, that you added it. So we have addressed that immediately."
We did. The problem is the plugin I'm using to manage the social media links doesn't have Mastodon in it.
Oh, I noticed it was a different kind of, it was sort of below everything else.
Yeah, so I had to add it a different way. So, but it is now there. I also added Instagram to the other one because that was another one that was also missing. So I think we're caught up to everything. I think Twitter is still Twitter. Everyone's resisting calling it X, and I can totally understand why. So, and no
more advertisement if you say formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, no one cares about either one of them anyway. So, well, with that, we're down to the end. Since Cheryl is not here, I will take on the responsibility of doing the new subscriber supporters and live participants. So this week we have on Facebook, Gerardo Rincon, Enrique Alexis, Carrasco Bernales. And I saw all these Hispanic sounding names, so I just wondered if we showed up in a Spanish list or something, or we got mentioned in a Mexican lug or something, because usually they don't show up in groups like that. But wherever you all came from, thanks for joining us over on Facebook. We also have Doug Comer and Nick Horton and 10 others because Facebook is dumb. Wish we could say who all the other people were, but we can't. On Twitter, we had Wade Nye. There's a lot of ways that could be pronounced, but I went and looked at the profile because I was confused, and that's actually his name, Wade Nye.
Oh, there you go.
Could be a lot of things. Wadeni, something like that. Wadeni. Yeah, but it's Wade Nye. On Mastodon that we just mentioned, we have Taco Strange, Peter _KC3UEP, Malachi, M0JDR, and ON8QRP, and DC2ZP. So ON is Belgium, I think. ON8, that's Belgium.
Probably.
And Delta Charlie 2 is Germany, I believe. So people from all over. We also have on Discord, TA2IOZ, Ozgur, and I don't know where TA2 is from. Someone will tell me, I'm sure. Tag, who we just had on the show, joins us, and Zero-TTL, and Harley Man. And in the live chat, we had Tony K4XSS, Ted WA0EIR, Steve KA7HVT, and we had Allie Kitten, who told us what her call sign is going to be when she gets her vanity call. But I was wondering if she got her actual call. Let's see if she's... she's typing. Excellent. Application is still pending. Okay.
Still pending, yeah.
So
TA2 IOZ is in Turkey.
Turkey. All right, very good. Current call sign, Kilo Z4, Charlie November. Okay.
Yeah, nice extra call.
Yep, Kilo Z4. KZ4, that's kind of cool. I like it. I don't hear a lot of KZs, so.
Yeah, could be a good, prefix call for the CQ worldwide prefix.
Yeah, for prefix contest, KZ4, that's going to be a good one. Yep. Except you won't have it. You're going to go to the other one, which is totally mundane. But that's okay, and we won't repeat the joke from last time that you didn't hear because you disconnected 2 seconds too early. But anyway, that brings us down to the end of the show. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and thanks to all of us, all of you, not all of us, all of you who support us financially. We really appreciate that. Help us keep the lights on and keep us going. And we will have one more episode number 527, our year-ender, before we go on break for the holidays. So we hope you'll join us for that. And in the meantime, have a good week, and we'll talk to you all soon. So for the absent, but won't be absent next week, Cheryl, W5MOO, I'm Russ, K5TUX.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD73.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a community-sponsored podcast. Our website is located at lhspodcast.info. You can support the podcast by visiting the LHS Patreon page at patreon.com/LHS Podcast, or by using the contribute list on the homepage. We have a presence on Discord, Facebook, IRC, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also drop us an email at info@lhspodcast.info or leave us a voicemail at 1-909-LHS-SHOW. That's 1-909-547-7469. Visit the online LHS merchandise store at shop.lhspodcast.info for fun and fashionable show-themed merchandise. Until next time, remember to always heed your hedonism.